The American League champion Blue Jays coming in hot with the Dylan Cease 7-year, $210 million contract. I'm going to tell you why I think it's a really, really good one. And what else we got going on? Mike Schildt, back in baseball. Retired from coaching the Padres. Said, I'm done. I've had enough. And then immediately, less than a month later, hired by the Orioles for some player development. That's a little crazy. I'm going to give you my thoughts on both situations. This is the Hold My Ball podcast. Let's get to it. Now, the initial response to Dylan Cease is overpaid. This guy's not going to win. It's pretty amazing. And I don't think people really understand who and what Dylan Cease is, because his numbers are both incredibly good and also at the same time not incredibly indicative of who he is as a pitcher, which is kind of crazy. I'm going to break this down real quick. Cease, but first of all, last 5 years, Cease has thrown over 30 starts every year. Durability, health, that's a big deal. That's a really big deal, especially in today's baseball. You're getting some consistency, at least historically. Anything can happen. We'll pray for good health for him, obviously. But that plays. Having a starter that can give you consistency in today's game is a big, big deal, especially to clubs, because you just don't have it. You're not finding it. So obviously the Blue Jays are hoping and planning that he will remain that way, a consistent piece, a consistent starter that will give him those 30 plus, and then obviously show up in playoffs. But Cease doesn't win a ton, and that's because he's on the White Sox for the last several years and the Padres for the last 3. Now, neither offense exactly puts up a ton of runs. I'll tell you that much. Easy to say, oh yeah, the Padres do. The Padres were 18th in runs scored and runs per game last year. That's not good. Not good at all. The Jays were 4th. And the Jays were also, I think, 29th. Are they 29th? Yeah. 28th. Jays were 4th in runs scored and 28th in strikeouts per game. So you get a guy like Cease whose numbers are pretty damn good. In those last 5 seasons where he's thrown over 30 starts every year, he's also had over 200 strikeouts every single one of those years. 226, 227, 214, 224, 215. This dude's K per 9 is 10.9 on his career. Led the league last year with 11.5. 11.5 Ks per 9. A career 10.5. This dude is disgusting. His problem seems to me, because I like him and I've been following him for a long time, is obviously a little control for a starter. You want I might get some flack for this, but I'm going to give him like Snell vibes, right? He might dominate your team through 6 innings. You might get 2 hits and he might K up 10. He also might walk 4 or 5 and have a pitch count of 106 through 6 innings, which is not ideal. I think if the Blue Jays sign him for 7 years, 210, they clearly have a plan. They clearly look at him and go, we can help out in this department. We can help out in that department, and put him where he should be. His career ERA is in the 3s. I think I want to say 3.2, 3.5, somewhere in there. He was at a 4.5 last year. But his problem to me is the walks, obviously, and then it's just the big inning. It's the one big inning every outing. It feels like on the outings where he doesn't perform well, it's one inning. It's always an inning. So if the Blue Jays can look at him and go, hey, let's figure out when to take you out, how to manage you, or how to avoid the big inning, matchup-wise, whether it's stuff-wise, whether it's getting ahead. Maybe that big inning happens in the 5th or 6th, and he's on pitch 90 instead of pitch 65, where he's not making mistakes. Find a way to keep his pitch count down, get him further into the game. I think they got, in all honesty, the best pitcher in free agency. There's Framber Valdez, obviously very good, but I'll tell you what, after crossing up his catcher, I'm out on him, 1,000%. I think the Blue Jays made a push here with the 7 years, 210 to pay him and say, hey, this is not only for you, Cease, but this is for other prospects like a Bo, a Bo Bichette. We're showing him that we're buying in. We have the money for it. That's a huge deal, and I really respect it with the Blue Jays. And I truly believe this is going to be one of the better signings that we see this offseason and really, really in the near future, maybe next year or two. I just see him being a guy that fits in Toronto, fits with the team. I think his personality would fit anywhere. I've interviewed him a couple times. He's hilarious. I got to get him on again now that he's made his bag. Congratulate him. Talk to him about Toronto. But I do see Cease as being a guy that truly, I mean, I see him in the Cy Young conversation in the next, at least once or twice in the next like 3 to 4 years. Just in the convo. Could possibly win it. He's got the stuff. Who knows? But the Jays, man, they are in a good position to build off what they just did. And that's a huge, huge deal. They have a great offense if they keep it together. The only issue with them is going to be the immediate success. Boom, World Series champs, a couple inches away, but you got it taken from you. A couple plays away, a couple swings away, several different occasions they were almost World Series champs. And do you have a hangover season from having so much success? I don't think so. I think these guys are young. I think they believe how good they are. I think that success is only going to fuel them. I think the Jays are contenders for the next several years, serious contenders. And right now, they're the only team I see. Again, it could be anybody. It could be absolutely anybody. But I think the Jays, if you just look at next year, they have to be favorites in the AL. Dodgers have to be favorites in the NL. And a World Series rematch would be awesome, I think. I think it'd be incredible. But early offseason predictions, that has to be what it's looking like. And the Jays are just putting themselves in a position to compete. You got to love it. And speaking of, real quick, Cease leaves San Diego. King might also leave San Diego. Tatis is in trade talks. They're talking about selling the team. There's so much going on in San Diego. Schildt leaving, and then he gets hired by the Orioles as a player development guy after retiring because the coaching was too much, health, stress, all that stuff. I truly believe Schildt, and I've never heard a bad word about Schildt from anybody I personally know that's worked with him. They've all said good things. Those people are also, they're in the business. They're not going to talk bad about people. Why would they? But I also know a little bit about Preller, who's a wild man, and you don't even need to be inside the clubhouse to know that, or inside the front office to know that. Preller is known as that guy, and I think he kind of likes that. He has that little like madman, vibe to him where he's somebody once described him to me as like the Tasmanian devil. Like he'll tell you meeting at this time, and it's like a 7 a.m. meeting, and then people are there in the meeting and they're waiting for him, and he shows up at 7 o'clock on the dot or whatever, or early, and everyone else is already there because they already know I got to be there. And then it's like he comes in and he like tornadoes through the room, like the Tasmanian devil spins through, papers are flying everywhere, ideas are all over the place. Here's what we're going to do. Put it on the board. Boom, boom, boom. Let's get it done. And then he's out and everybody's just kind of like, whoa, that was a lot. Let's figure it out now. And I don't see Schildt and him getting along whatsoever. Maybe I'm crazy. Obviously Schildt, it now has come out that he hasn't really gotten along with too many people behind the scenes. I never liked him just from a fan's perspective, not asking anyone else about him, just from what I see, post-game interviews, pre-game interviews. I think he's good to his players as far as, media and deflecting certain things for people. I think he tried to create controversy more than necessary when it was with the Dodgers. I think he was little brother mentality, and I don't even say that in a bad way. I think whatever fires your team up, he knows his team better than I do. Maybe that was it, but I just feel like he wasn't the guy. I feel like he's not the guy. I feel like he's not a guy I would want to manage my team. whatsoever. I'll take Tony Vitale, whatever, with Tennessee in his first year ever managing a big league team. I'll take that guy. Give me that guy. Fired up, excited, ready to go, a little younger. I think those guys play a little bit. I know there's been some gripe about, managers getting hired. I think from Joe Madden was the guy maybe with zero experience, but does it really matter? You're hiring a guy to create a culture. That's what you're doing in the big leagues. You're not hiring a guy to teach these infielders how to field and teach these hitters how to hit. You're hiring hitting coaches and other people for that. The manager creates the culture, and when you think about the Padres, what is their culture? No idea. Over the past 10 years, I don't know what the Padres culture is. And if you say you do, you're lying. They don't really have one. There's a lot of teams that don't have a culture. Dodgers have a culture. The Yankees, they have a culture, and it hasn't been great, but there's a clear plan and vision of what they want to do. Boston Red Sox, culture, little bit. I think that it's clear what they're trying to do. Detroit Tigers, there's a phenomenal example of a coach that has created culture. Very good. Who else we got? With that immediately pops off the page as they have culture? The coach that is there, the manager has built a culture. Let's think. The Blue Jays, clearly, they have a culture. That's obvious. After 1 year, sure, but they're young and they've been building. I don't know who else we got. I think Cleveland has a little bit of a culture. I think it's like us versus the world culture, but you see them and you go, they have a culture. I think Voigt's built something over there. So I think the goal is to build something. I think that's what San Francisco is looking to do by hiring Vitale. I don't even know if it's Vitale or Vitale, but I think they've created a culture. So when I look at Schildt, I don't think he's the guy to be a big league manager. I don't think he handles it well mentally. I don't think behind the scenes, if he is what they say he is, which is kind of an ass to, coaches and demanding, it just doesn't, I don't think it plays at this level. And if you're winning World Series, it might, but I just don't think it plays at this level. You're talking about pros and you're talking about the best coaches and players in the world. I don't think there's a space for that. And if there is, it certainly isn't with the Padres and Preller, who those two I just picture clashing. And I don't think Schildt really retired more than, hey, we're going to give you the courtesy of telling you that you're out of here, or you can retire if you want, but we're going to fire you either way. So what you can do is we'll put out a statement. You're not going anywhere. You're good. We're going with Schildt next year. And then in 2 weeks or a week, you can say, I'm retiring. And then it's you making the decision. I think that's what they did. I wish Schildt happiness and success wherever he goes. Just not a fan of the guy from what I've seen as a fan watching baseball. And that's it, man. What else do we have coming up? These guys, we got Bregman on the free agency. We got Belly. We got Tucker. We got so many guys, man. It's going to be a lot of fun over the next, I think, few weeks. Get through Thanksgiving. Now that we're done with that, I think these things start happening. But looking forward to it. Keep you guys updated with my thoughts. That's pretty much it. Not a massive amount of research done on my end on any of these, but I do love to just give my opinion. And if you guys enjoy watching, I appreciate that so much. Let's do this. Like this thing, send it, download it, share it. Whatever doesn't cost you any money to support, do that, because I like that. I don't like asking anybody for anything in general, but if it's cheap and it's easy and it's free and you just click a couple buttons and it helps me out, I love it. I appreciate it. Subscribe, all that good stuff. You guys are awesome. This is the Hold My Ball podcast. I'll check in with you guys as soon as something else happens. Start the music. Get me on out of here. We'll see you guys around.